But for many people, may be an ugly way to play, for some, can be an efficient way to attack. The use of direct attack, employing many long balls, is an attacking style that doesn't require many skills valued by the general public. When it doesn't work very well, it can make the game unattractive, filled with conflict and a lot of back and forth. On the other hand, it's a very direct style of play that can yield results for those who use it, of course, when it's well executed. It's quite common for teams facing technically superior opponents to resort to this style of play. And today we will try to illustrate some common ideas and concepts used by teams that often employ this style of attack. This style of play using many long balls has historically been associated with some European countries, primarily England and Germany, which played a more physical game. However, in today's football, we still see remnants of this style, but these countries have expanded their repertoire significantly. Since we touched on the topic of physicality, it's an essential factor for a team that utilizes direct attacking. This is because to use a direct style of play, the player with the ball in the defensive sector needs to connect the ball with a target player in the attacking sector. Firstly, as the ball tends to come from above, the target player, usually a forward, needs to have a high success rate in physical duels to win this contest when there is space behind the opponent's defensive line. Especially if the opposing team employs high pressing, it's advantageous for some attacking teammates to be fast to capitalize on any flick-ons the target player might provide. Moreover, other players who need to excel in duels are the midfielders, who can contest for a second ball if the target player manages to flick it backward. But even though we've shown the target player as a forward in this example, it could also be a player in a different position. The target player could be, for instance, a fullback. Let's provide an example using a left back. Imagine the red team is attacking, and the left back is a player who is strong in aerial play. Usually, fullbacks have many direct duels with wingers, who are on average faster but not as tall. Hence, a left back strong in aerial play could have an advantage in this aspect. So, the center back in this case plays a long pass to find the left back, who is making a run almost along the touchline. The same principles can be applied, such as a fast teammate attacking the open space, in this case, the left winger, and teammates strong in duels positioning themselves to win the second ball. In this example, we have one of the midfielders and the center forward to illustrate. Then, the left back could decide whom to flick the ball to depending on who presents the best option to continue the play. And this decision-making by the target player is a crucial aspect for the continuation of the play. If possible, at the moment the ball arrives, the target player needs to identify where the team will have an advantage in winning the second ball. Let's go back to that example, where we use the center forward as the target player in a situation where the opponent is playing with a high defensive line. In this scenario, when the ball reaches our forward, as we mentioned earlier, he has two options. The first is to flick the ball for a contest in the midfield, where our midfielders would be involved. This choice would be appropriate if there were a numerical advantage, or if our players had a greater physical advantage in contesting the ball compared to the opponents. The second option would be to flick the ball backward, seeking an open space to unleash the speed of the second forward. Of course, this would be a good choice if there were space behind the defense, and if our second forward was in motion and fast enough to reach the ball before the opponent, and, of course, had the technical ability to handle the ball. Now, if this situation occurred when the opposing team played with a low defensive block, the second option would be much more difficult, as there would likely be little space for the second forward to attack. In this case, what would be required of our second forward is the ability, for example, to take a first-time shot. Well, we've talked about the target player, but another important point is delivering the ball to them with quality. And for that, one also needs to consider who will make the pass. To better explain this part, it's necessary to understand a concept called unpressured ball. An unpressured ball is when the player with the ball, in this case, one of our deep-lying players, is without an opponent very close to him. In other words, when he is not being pressed by any opponent. One way to facilitate this is for our team to organize itself in a way that creates numerical superiority in the ball-playing sector. Of course, this will make it easier for, at some point, a player in that sector to become free, without any opponent pressing, generating an unpressured ball, and allowing them the time and space to make the correct technical move to deliver the ball with quality to the target player. There is a type of player who is generally a specialist in this type of play, making long passes, and this type of player can fulfill a role called a regista. We have made a video explaining how a Regista plays, and this is exactly the video that is appearing on the screen right now. I recommend that you click and watch it right away.